welcome to the Passenger Seat Podcast, a podcast designed to fill your passenger seat with chat about classic cars, all recorded from my 1968 Morris Minor Peggy. I'm Becca and welcome to Series 9 of the podcast. I can't believe that I've been doing it for that long now. I think we're coming up to our third year of doing it, which is crazy. And yeah, just fantastic to have got to Series 9 and really excited about what Series 9 has got coming up for you. But firstly, this first episode is about filling you guys in on what I got up to in the break between seasons. So I always have a little break between seasons to kind of catch up on myself, kind of spread them out a little bit and just have a bit of time. And between seasons has actually been quite busy for me, so it's worked out quite well to be able to have a break and spread out the need to film podcasts and get them edited and stuff. One thing that I've spent a bit of time doing is actually working with my dad on some of his cars. If you follow me over on Instagram, you'll know that his Singer Chamois Coupe has had its engine out, and so there's been the dismantling of that, which actually my sister was more involved in, and then more recently the removal of the engine from his other imp, which I've not really covered before at this point on any of my social media, which is Dusty, the Hillman Imp Spring Special. Spring Specials were a run in 1967 that was intended to go over to the American market, and so they had kind of different bumpers and things like that to bring them up to the American spec, but they never really went across, and so they only exist in silver and gold, and Dad's one is a silver. He didn't fully know kind of what it was. He knew that it was a spring special, but didn't have much details and stuff like that about what that meant until more recently. And he's had the car for over 30 years now, and in fact has been never on the road and never driven. So we took the engine that he'd built up to go in that a long time ago, before I was born, to see how that was doing and to see if it would be a viable option to run Lulu on for the time being, whilst more in-depth work is done on her engine. And so that was really fun, really interesting. Learned a lot about kind of the different engine in there, because I've obviously learned a lot about A-series and how they work, and that's given me a better understanding of Peggy. But learning about more different types of engines and things like that is something that I'd love to learn, and been a great opportunity with him to do that. And we learned very quickly that copper grease is always your friend. He wasn't 100% sure that when he'd built that engine up and put it in the car, whether he knew about copper grease, and we're very grateful to find out that he did, because that meant that taking the head off and stuff like that was a lot easier, and we were able to get it apart and check on it without too much difficulty. So remember, if you're working on a car and you want to ever be able to take anything apart again, that the couple of seconds pop in a bit of copper grease on whatever it is you're working on, future you will thank you, as this entire process has really taught Dad, because him 30 odd years ago could never have imagined this situation, and yet the copper grease has come in clutch. And so he's been doing some little bits and bobs to that, but taking it out, taking it apart, something that we're gradually becoming quite proficient at. And Dad's got a very special bread trolley for doing imp engines, because it's just the right height to kind of slide under the engine drop down onto, and then wheel out the back of the car. It's quite simple and effective, really. Been working on that, and it's been really fun, and like I said, great to kind of learn about different setups, because the valves are completely different in how they are adjusted and shimmed, rather than kind of feeler gauged and adjusted as it is on Peggy. And the location of the cam, it's all very, very intriguing, and it makes you think, okay, so why did they think about doing it that way rather than this way? And in reality, are you getting much difference out of these two kind of types of engines? So been really fascinating, and I've shared some kind of more details about what's going on with that over on Instagram, and some great photos as well. We obviously had the trip to Ireland, which was fantastic, and again some beautiful photos shared over on Instagram about that, and I've done an entire podcast about that, which you'll be able to watch next week or listen to and hear what we got up to there. It was an amazing trip, and really looking forward to kind of sharing that with you all. I've also officially stepped down from being the kind of leader of the Morris Minor Owners Club Young Members. It's been a fantastic 3 years, and just a really weird sensation, I think, at the moment. It's happened quite fresh at the time of recording this. That was on Monday, and I'm recording this on Thursday before I go away. And just crazy, because pretty much very early on in my joining the club, and therefore my involvement in the young members, it became kind of my responsibility. So I'm kind of looking forward to experiencing it under someone else for a bit longer than I did when Liam and Beth were in charge, and also getting to kind of relax at National a bit this year. Don't have to run around like a bit of a headless chicken and go crazy in that regard. I'm able to I'm looking forward to hopefully relaxing in a deck chair and enjoying a drink of Guinness and watching Nathaniel and Dara do all the panicking and running around. So that's been interesting, and it's been great. I'm really proud of what's happened over the last 3 and a bit years with the young members and how far it's come, and I think it's fantastic to see it kind of continuing on in a good way, and I'm really excited for what's to come for them, and to get to be part of that as a kind of an attendee without all of the emails and phone calls, etc., that often go into organising these sorts of things. We of course had Drive It Day, an incredibly important day in the kind of automotive calendar if you're into your historic vehicles, because it's so important to get your cars out there and be seen by the public and get that kind of public approval and support for what we do and the use of our vehicles, because that's part of what helps keep them on the road. And we had a really lovely discussion about that last season with Wayne from the FBHVC, and so I feel like having had that talk and discussion about that importance made this year's Drive It Day feel quite important to me, and to make sure that we got out and enjoyed it. And we were able to get both Peggy and Jaffa to the Pike and Eel, where Quest Brothers have a monthly meeting. It was their first one of the year, and it's always a fantastic collection of cars, and also we get to have a catch up with some of our local friends and meet up with some of them, and it's nice to do that at the beginning of the season, because you've perhaps not seen each other since last year, and so see what they've kind of got up to over the winter. We got to introduce Jaffa at his first event with them, and we met some really lovely people, including a guy that owns an absolutely lovely Riley replica by Vincent that's really cool, and we had a lovely chat with him about that and how he came to own it, and how they're kind of almost as rare now as the actual Rileys are, which is quite a cool situation to be in, where your replica's got its own kind of standing and interest. And great to talk to him, and so many interesting cars. And again, leaning into that thing that I've said many times on the podcast, of the fact that sometimes a little trip to a local show is where you get to see some really interesting stuff that doesn't necessarily make it to the stuff that's more further afield. And and a real range of stuff, everything from that to an absolutely immaculate Volvo estate that was just perfect. And I was like looking around it and spotted that it had a parking permit for the local ambulance station, and I thought, well, that's fantastic. This is like the perfect immaculate vehicle for someone who is an ambulance driver to own, because of the safety aspects and stuff like that associated with the Volvos. Just beautiful, loved it. Just some absolutely gorgeous cars, and the weather's been brilliant of late. We had great weather in Ireland, we've got great weather at the moment, great weather on Drive It Day, and hopefully great weather for my upcoming trip. At the time this podcast goes live, I will hopefully be enjoying a very, very sunny North Wales with Jan and Tash. We've got the WDSC Weekender West, so we did North and South last year, and we're doing East and West this year. So we've got that on Maybank holiday this year, which is fantastic, and we've got some really fun stuff lined up, and some new people signed up to coming along to that, which should be fun. And then we're going to stay up in North Wales and have kind of a little bit of a holiday, so I'll be sharing some of what we get up to in a future podcast episode, I'm sure. And then the following weekend, we've got the Pirate Weekend in Conway with Jan and Tash, which is always great fun. And then it will be back to kind of reality and everything after that. So Peggy and Jaffa have really got a lot of work cut out for them in the coming weeks, and I'm sure they'll both step up really well. We've also had a couple of bits to do on Jaffa with his clutch, but hopefully they're all sorted now, and just had to update some seals and stuff on those. Didn't do loads of that. I was mostly on pressing the pedal as and when needed, and hopefully all will be well very soon on that front. Obviously a very busy little break in between the two series of the podcast, and lots to look forward to. We've got National Weekend with the MMOC, we've got National Weekend with the Singer Owners Club, we've got Thorsby to look forward to, a couple of other things that we're kind of considering going to. So all in all, should be a really fun summer. And I do really love the summer seasons on the podcast because there's always lots of stuff going on and lots of events to share with you guys, and I love hearing about what you guys are getting up to too. So I'd love to hear down in the comments, if you're watching on YouTube or on the posts over on Instagram, what you guys are getting up to, what you've been up to, and what you're most looking forward to this summer with your cars. This will be Peggy's second summer out with her lovely new paint job, and hopefully we get to see it gleaming in this glorious sunshine a lot, because last year's summer was a little bit wet, so looking forward to it for sure. I hope you've enjoyed this brief little catch up. Next week's episode is going to be much longer, so you'll have lots to look forward to then. But in the meantime, thank you ever so much for listening. Drive safely and happy motoring.